Hello and welcome to what is the next to last session of this long arc of Night's Black Agents. We did 5 sessions of a prologue kind of thing in December, and this is session 11 of 12 for this. If you've been watching, you'll know that this is taking some liberties both with the system and with the sourcebook module material that is taken from the Persephone extraction, as well as some other sources. So that is out there. We are short one player today, but we kind of talked about where we're going to start out last time, and that's where we're going to sort of angle ourselves into. As a reminder, we have lines and veils on the table as our safety tools. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him. I'm going to have our players come around and introduce themselves and their characters, and then we're going to get rolling. Let us start with Carl.
Hello, good evening. I'm Paweł. I'm playing Karl Pot, Polish ex-Grom Commando. Karl's a bit trigger happy or itchy to do some action. But yeah, we are really deep in this conspiracy, so I look forward to doing some good old vampire killing.
And then Peter Skellen.
Hello, I'm Paul, he, him, and the character I'm playing is indeed Peter Skellen, also he, him. Peter, I think, sees the vampire conspiracy in very much a black and white. It's the sort of normal human population versus vampires, and there isn't much in between as far as Peter's concerned. And it troubles him that other members of the group may be drifting towards sort of seeing some vampirism is sort of okay, and that doesn't really sit too well with Peter.
Matters of perspective, always good to see. And then let us come to Jimmy Rook.
Hi, my name is Will, pronouns he, him, as are those of my character, Jimmy Rook, who is a former black bagger for MI6. And he just wishes Peter would, stop killing useful people. He's all for killing all the vampires once they've helped kill the other ones.
And last time, this, of course, this all comes around from discussion that they managed to get into contact with a person who's in the sort of a funnel charitable organization that's present here, and flip them over to their side to get information on what's going on in sort of the greater conspiracy. The players had learned earlier that there were some outliers within the organization of these Orphic vampires, and they used that to establish a relationship with that. In particular, they're on the ground in Istanbul. They investigated a number of different leads last time, including a missing archaeologist who they still haven't found, who they believe was kidnapped. There are a series of vanishings going on in a particular set of lower socioeconomic status neighborhoods here, marginalized neighborhoods, Kurds and outliers and Roma and so on here in Istanbul. People are vanishing from there at a statistically higher rate. The belief is that that's connected to the monastery of St. Mary's of the Mongols, and that is just up from this particular neighborhood, the Bolgasi. This area is within walking distance. The other area that is a site of interest is a place called the Sadikan Monastery that is outside of the Istanbul city limits. It's in an area that, like, there are a couple of different police and security forces that operate there. But it's on the Black Sea, and it has been closed off for reconstruction. And that's how this archaeologist got involved, is she was, questioning about that. The group also knows that things have been transported outside the city, likely to this location. So that's another detail that's out there. They also know that Turkish security forces are on the ground looking for them. Jimmy.
I had one thing to add to that. I believe that we know from our flipped Orphic Aturk Kutoglu, I'm not going to be able to say that properly.
Yep.
He told us about that these disappearances seem to be linked to bringing more shadows into the world, like the dregs almost of the of whatever. So I guess that kind of gives us implications about how there are different power levels of these
Right.
shadow vampires, and like the rich people get the full deal that we've been dealing with so far, like Morgane's and the Eurydice head guy, Calix's guy. But then if the disappearances, I think he said that it was the disappeared people were being bound to weak shadows. Is that right?
What he's talking about, yeah, you see, you're not sure whether he was talking about the shadows being weaker or being less acclimated to the world, or novice or something like that. Certainly the impression you got was that these shadows that are coming out are not like the sophisticated shades that you've seen detached before.
Perhaps they've not been in the mortal world because we kind of have this impression of like the underworld being like where these are the spirits of the dead, aren't they, binding themselves to interest? Because I was just thinking over that, and I was like, that's an interesting difference between types of vampires. But yeah, we all go over this in our vampirology books at some point in the back of the van.
And a couple of other reminders. One is you do have, and this is not necessarily a lead to be followed up on now, but you do have a list of highly placed people that you suspect might be already given these shades here in Istanbul. You know that the vampires are vulnerable to sunlight. You know that they can go out and exist in it for a short time, but they are vulnerable to it. You know that copious amounts of blood will send them into frenzy. You know that the laughter of children disturbs them. And you know that any stake that you have has to be fresh and of essentially still living wood to be effective there. So the monastery. This is the monastery of St. Mary's of the Mongols. Essentially, this is a Greek Orthodox monastery. Here, the only one left that wasn't converted to a dear God, that word just went right out of my mind. Mosque. How? Wow. It wasn't converted to a mosque during any of the times of the changeover of the city. It has a public side, the church, which you've been able to get pictures of and get a general sense of, but there's a monastery side of that facility that is a little more secure, and tourists and people passing through aren't allowed in there. But you do know that the Archimandrite and some of the others are tied into the conspiracy. And so Jimmy Rook is going in to see what he can uncover in that location. And I believe that we have Peter and Carl in a rented van outside, clear comms, encrypted, and watching and ready to make a move on it. It's still going to be a fair distance just because of parking and things like that. You can't really get the van too much closer, but you do have backup, Jimmy.
Nice.
Day or night?
Well, what does my, in a casing of the joint, what could we identify, Jimmy being a professional at this, what would be the appropriate, do you think then? Perhaps criminology, would that work as a...
Criminology or surveillance would be good.
I'll spend criminology because it'll be the first time any of us has spent criminology in the
Okay.
entire thing so far.
Can I just make a suggestion that we know the things that they don't like, so try and get those things as much as you can on your side.
I get what you. No, I get it entirely, but
yeah, because going in at night, you're never going to have the power of sunshine on your side. So
these things can still do it in the daylight if they need to.
True, but that's a big thing on your favor.
Yeah.
So
well,
Jimmy,
we'll find out what's the best time to go in.
So one of the things is that you do see that they, during the day when they have these tourists go in, that's an access point, but you also have a lot more people awake and operating and on the ground. You kind of like you do your survey for at least a day to check it out, and it does seem like most of the monks are probably normal. They seem to have that sort of standard routine as far as you can see. I mean, imagine a drone kind of doing a flyover and a check through that.
Mm-hmm.
It does look like it's a very old building. So it isn't particularly well wired for, lighting and things like that. So there is a certain advantage that you have. If you go in at night, if you get spotted, you'll seem out of place. On the other hand, your chances of getting spotted are significantly less.
I mean, who dares wins? This is. I agree with you entirely, Paul, on the daylight, whatever. But this is it. I don't plan on getting caught.
True. Yeah, well, I don't want you to get caught. I'm just thinking if you went during the day, I mean, they are monks. I mean, I'd like to think, they go to chapel, church, whatever, quite a few times a day. Probably evening prayer, very, very common time for any kind of Christian to go to church. That way you'll actually get them all included in one place. Now, I'm not talking about firebombing them, so don't worry about that.
No, I think you raised, because the Archimandrite would be that we'd know where he was if he was at prayer, wouldn't we? That is a big thing.
We know he's got a vampire, but I mean, if he's still taken up, Lowell just said that most of them we believe are in and out standard monks.
Most.
So the Archimandrite, or he's got to keep up that image that he is indeed, a man of Christ. So I'd say evening prayer, maybe just as the sun's going down, or if we know any of their prayer schedules, we may be able to find that out. That's a good time to hit him because you'll still have sunlight on your side. And if you need to go into the bloke's personal quarters,
well, that's why I'm imagining.
In at night, if the bloke's sleeping there, I mean, you can rifle somebody's room while they're asleep, but slimly, I mean, unless the bloke sleeps like the dead.
Yeah, Jimmy pulls out that magazine that you had stuff underneath your pillow and goes, "Yeah, it's true. You can go in there while someone's sleeping at night, even when they're on top of it." Peter,
you should never know about that.
Yeah, but
8-bit computers are forever.
Yeah, I do think that the prayer's that's a good idea.
So try to match to the evening prayers where you still have a little bit of light.
Yeah, well, I'm not so fussed about the light so much as the Archimandrite, because I believe we were told that he had a shadow, possibly.
Yes.
Is that right? So knowing where he is seems to take him the biggest, the biggest known quantity that we care about, right? And
Absolutely.
He would probably be the guy who has any kind of thing that we can pick up.
This is infiltration.
Okay.
This is where we get to the dice, my friend.
Mm-hmm. To the dice. I am going to oh, you know what? I'll just go with 3 from my pool.
Okay.
I had a 9.
That is a 9. So, I mean, it's standard procedure. Simple climb over on the walls, make your way down onto the grounds. Not a lot of people moving around here. A lot of shadows around where you're at. but you'll definitely make your way and have a chance. I imagine you probably got one of those cameras that's like on a wire to check around, through gaps and things and under doors and all of that. And I think you'll swing by the center of prayer here within the monastery itself and kind of take a look in, and you'll see a great number of monks there for the beginning of the evening prayers. It started. The thing that will strike you as you do that is you've done enough research on appearance and things like that. You're not seeing the Archimandrite.
Damn. Well, that worries me.
They're definitely not present in service. It looks like one of their adjuncts, a lesser priest, is here carrying out the ceremonies. So what do you want to do? What are you trying to find? What are you trying to get to?
Well, it's a bit of a fishing expedition,
Mhm.
but so there are tours during the day, so that implies to me that there's parts of the church that are open to public viewing. And given that it's public, would there be sort of places that are clearly marked off and not public?
Yeah, absolutely. You can identify which area of this is more secure and clearly intended not for general access.
I will go either for the head office or the Archimandrite's quarters, whichever one is easier to get to at this point. You have to start somewhere, right?
Absolutely. Do you want to make a notice spend for me?
Sure.
You'll be able to identify that there is a sort of maybe a records room or a more secure room here. You go past, the door is different. It's more secure, more modern on this. And it is just down from what is marked out as the Archimandrite's quarters. So those two things seem to be in close proximity. But the other thing that you will pick up in kind of looking, doing a quick surveillance, things like that, is that there is definitely a concealed passage going down to some kind of basement. It's tucked off in another area. It definitely has access to the main doors, like you could move from the main doorway across the grounds to get to that.
I radio it back to the guys in the van. I say, there's a secret passageway down here, but I don't know how many of them there would be. I'm gonna case out the big guy's room, see if there's anything in there.
Yeah, let's stay on information gathering. Good call.
Yeah. So yeah, the records room or the Archimandrite's quarters. Well, whichever one let's pass first. So the records room, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is actually going to be a filch roll for this.
Okay. And I will spend. Can I spend a point of streetwise to? No, it's not really appropriate, is it? Streetwise is more like a thing. Could I spend a point of criminology again to build a pool?
And how does that? How do you think that that's giving you a tactical benefit for this?
Well, history of crime scene analysis. I know I've seen a lot of stage crimes. I know how to make something, not to draw attention to my movements and that kind of thing. Where to look for.
So it's less about the lock itself and more about being able to conceal elements of your passage.
Yeah, to be able, and especially to be able to do all of this without drawing attention to myself.
Sure. Make that spend and you'll get a 3-point pool.
Okay. I'm going to spend all of it because I want to get a full success on one of these. Boom, and I do.
Okay. So it's a heavy duty lock. It clearly a little more high tech than you would expect for this place. You can see that the frame is reinforced, and you'll take a while. You'll get that open, and you'll come into a room that is clearly got records and papers and sort of layouts of things and so on. And you'll start looking around. Now, let me ask you this in terms of what your like first target is. Are you looking like the sort of material, hard stuff, what are the items, objects here? Or are you looking for a more soft, I want to see what information, layouts, that kind of thing? What's your sort of first strategy here?
Probably objects, because it'd be quicker to identify, prioritize.
Absolutely. One of the things that you will find is that there is a relatively secure safe that you'll be able to open up, and you will see that there are some papers in there. There's a kind of a spray hose attachment. And there are a couple of daggers in there as well as what first looks to you to be like a container of maybe marijuana. But you kind of look at it and take a sniff, and it's actually sage.
They used sage in the ritual in Cave Divan, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Well,
Okay.
they didn't use sage there. That you picked up that burning sage was actually kind of an anathema.
Oh, interesting. Well, I grab all of this stuff.
Okay.
And I'm happy that I've got my Zippo in my pocket.
Yeah.
If it comes to it.
You look around and you can see that there are sort of tucked away in a closet here, a couple of pressurized containers. It looks like that whatever that spray thing is, it connects up to that.
Can I inspect? Do the pressurized containers have any markings on them or anything like that?
No, they don't. But do you have some particular skill for checking analysis and kind of chemistry or anything like that, mechanics?
I have mechanics.
Okay.
That would be a roll though, wouldn't it, mechanics wise?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what, I'll spend 2 from that. Why not?
Okay.
It's a 9.
It's a 9. So what you will be able to realize here is that what's in there is water. And it's kind of do a quick check. Is it distilled or something? It's certainly clean water in these large tanks, and they've got a spray hose thing there. And when you kind of look around, you will find that there is a set of essentially burn after reading documents from the safe that seem to pull this together. And essentially it is a set of instructions for dealing with what they call the untamed. And they say, do not use blood. Blood will only enrage. Sunlight will keep them in line. Burning sage is a way to contain them. At last resort, any stakes need to be made from living wood. If that proves a problem, use clean, purified running water on the shadows.
So
You, and then it says you are responsible for the decisions that are made to cause harm to our masters.
So there's untamed as well as the sort of the masters kind of thing, the pale agenda, let's say. There are,
Mhm.
but it implies that they are, you know, still in some way respected by the conspiracy, I guess. Interesting. That is, I don't think I can take these canisters and stuff with me.
They are a little large.
Yeah, but I think I do have like you know, like a duffel bag that's kind of like all boxed, you know, like wrapped up in a little thing, and I just whip it out and I chuck, gently place all of the things from the safe in there, and then close it shut. I check the corridor before. I think I'm
Yeah,
going to push my luck.
this has taken a while. There are
Yeah.
more people that those services have ended. There are more people moving around now. Time is getting closer. You could leave now, walk away, or you could push for more materials, go through the papers, or even go into the Archimandrites chambers, or into the basement by yourself.
I mean, the player in me really wants to go to the basement. Just seems like suicide. I think the Archimandrites room, because I think the papers, you know, identifying like files and reading things and stuff is more time consuming than at least getting a good quick casing of someone else's room.
Okay. I think this is either a cool roll, operational, or infiltration or evasion as a physical roll.
I will do a cool roll.
Okay.
With a +3. Oh, wait, did that add my +3? Yeah, I got a total of 6.
Got a total of 6.
Yep.
So we see you move down into the Archimandrites room. Get it open, move inside. Yeah, there's papers here. You'll see maps to particular locations. You'll see what's clearly some communiques that have been printed out. You'll see like report to the Eyrie. You'll see notes on like other places in the world. There's like probably a note that is mentioning what happened in Barcelona. You see a note that says that no communication from the US side of things, or the Daughters of the Fragrant Void, or any of their role in this. And there's probably, you know, some notes on Daria Kaya. And
that draws my attention, the notes from the archaeologist.
And, you know, essentially it looks like there's confirmation that she has been delivered to Sadakhan.
There it is in that Sadakhan. Okay. Okay.
And you turn
and is there
around.
anything more about Sadakhan?
Yeah, that definitely looks like things have been transferred there. Like that's key, important. You're kind of rifling through that. And I think that's the moment that you kind of turn around and you realize that there's a figure in the doorway who has been in the doorway for a while.
Yeah.
Like clearly hasn't just opened the door and seen you pop in here, but has been watching you go through these things. And he says, I think I can be of service to you, my child, in a heavy Greek accent.
And Jimmy, you know, stacks the papers neatly and then turns around, and they slip into the bag behind him. Look, he makes it look like he's putting it back on the desk, but he slips the papers back into the bag. And he goes, "Oh, Father, I didn't. Lovely place you've got here. Tell me, this girl, Daria, have you seen her?"
I can certainly take you to her.
Well, lead on.
And you will see the shadows extend in the room.
And behind my back, I'm pulling out that jar of sage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you two are a ways, parking lot, you've got some distance between that. Jimmy, is there do you give them the, hey, I'm in trouble sign?
I think, like the control for his throat mic is, I think it's just been on the whole time, right? So you can just hear me talking to someone else suddenly,
So you two, Peter, Carl, you're in the van, you're ready to go when you get that signal that Jimmy's been tumbled, that he has been spotted. What's the next step?
Jimmy, by the way, can get out of there with a distraction as long as he can get out of their view. I've got a spare talent to take for gone, so I can slip away if needed.
I'm not planning on machine gun in a monastery in broad daylight.
It's evening. It's getting dark. Yeah.
Oh yeah, in the dark's a different matter. No, I think a distraction. I think a 20-litre jerry can of fuel, diesel, shitload of smoke, a diesel petrol mix. Just tip it at the doors of the monastery, light it, and then walk off. Small bit of minor arson. Shouldn't kill anybody, but it should, one, draw emergency services, and two, should cause a bit of fuck, there's a lot of smoke in a monastery. Let's do the fire drill. Stand outside. So
as I understand, then Peter, you get that together. We'll do this as on do you have explosives or mechanics or anything like that for this?
No, I'm just relying on a sheer knowledge of chemistry and fire.
Okay, Carl, what is your take on this when Peter says, "This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm moving"? What do you want to do, and where do you want to be? Do you want to try and get in quietly to provide backup for Jimmy if he needs it, or are you staying here with the fire, or something else?
I mean, one of you has a talent that you could use to do something incredible here. The one where you just appear as somebody from the man from nowhere. You could just be in the church already in disguise.
I don't know. We said that this is your mission, so I'm probably staying in the car behind the wheel.
Okay.
That's ready to.
What talent's this? I'm trying to find it.
The man from nowhere, underneath disguise, I think. Yeah, disguise, yeah. Third column. I keep looking at it and I keep thinking how cool it would be to just pull off a false mustache and be the gun.
It's the last one of the disguise talents.
Okay, yeah, I've got disguise. Do you need some?
No, I'm willing to play it out, man. I'm good. I think we've been fairly without risk and danger for a lot of this, so I'm happy to just take one on.
So we're going to assume, Peter, that you're getting into position. You're going to get this set. You've got the material ahead of time ready for this. You're moving out, kind of crossing the area to get up close to the monastery to do this. Jimmy.
Yeah.
How do you want to do this?
Actually, the first thing I do is I pull out my phone and I go, wait, I've got a message from Lilith. From her daughter, Lucy, wasn't it? Who's the name of the daughter?
That Lucy was the name that was given.
Yes.
Let's. I think. I think this is an operational roll.
Mm-hmm. I think I should spend big on that one. I hope this works. That's 13.
13. So rather than immediately come to kill you, you are pushed back, and like there is the Archimandrite, you can see like rage in his eyes, and you feel the shadow kind of gripping around in the room, and he says, "What is the message?"
And that's when I hit play on the children laughing YouTube video, live stream of a classroom or something, you know.
I think that is perfect. That it is unexpected, out of nowhere for them. They're angry, focused on this thing of Lilith, and I think that you'll hear this scream from them, and they kind of stagger back. You have the opportunity to get past them and get out of here.
Yeah, but I also have the opportunity to slash his throat as he jumps back, right?
Make that fighting roll for me.
And we know they go frenzied when they get blood in the air. And the last one did murder his Philomene rather than come after us first.
It's a question of whether you can get this done before that thing reacts.
Yes.
You know they're preternaturally fast.
Yes.
So let's have you roll fighting.
3 from fighting.
Ooh.
That's an 8.
Hot. An 8. Okay, we're even up. Actions and resolutions. So deal harm to your foe and choose one. Deal more harm, suffer no harm. Take or give advantage forward, shift the edge, reposition the conflict, or some other benefit.
Would I have to deal more harm to cut him badly?
You'd have to do that to essentially do a mortal wound to him.
Yeah, but I guess I'm hoping on the vampire doing the rest of the mortal wound to him, since it went mad for just a cut before, didn't it? As opposed to screw it. You know what? I'll go for the full mortal wound to him.
And I think you jump up and slash, and there will be this screech. And you don't take any harm, but you hear this screech, and you hear 5 or 6 echoing screeches back from the echoing halls of the monastery. And this thing pulls itself together, and you will realize that this thing is strong and old, and it moves to drink the blood, but it also holds itself in place. But the Archimandrite is like staggering and falling to the ground right now. You can see this thing is burning its power to keep itself from falling into that. We'll come back to that in just one moment. Paul, so let's have you make a roll. Want to build yourself a little pool with chemistry to do this?
Yes, certainly.
Okay. Make a chemistry spend. And
I'll apply all 3 points.
Yeah, burn them all. Eight. So there will be that wolf. It's not nearly as loud as you want, but there will be suddenly this blaze of fire going up this side of the wall, and that horrible diesel burning smell that rises up. Dead grass and things catch around here, and as soon as the wind changes, probably not in the monastery itself, but from the tourist side, the smoke alarms will start going off from that as that haze rolls in there. Pavel, what are you doing?
I'm just sitting waiting for. They're like, Peter can get here and Jimmy's still inside. So
You're hearing screeching through the mic is what you're hearing.
yeah, I guess I guess I will drive to be exactly at the rear exit or like rear window where we established that Jimmy will be probably leaving. So I'm going to drive by and
that essentially be the back wall that he roped over.
Yep, exactly. Just to be there. No longer like on the parking, just like drive there.
Yeah. Jimmy, you have an opportunity right now to do what you want. This thing hasn't reacted. You've definitely caught it out in this moment. It's holding itself together. It's called for backup.
I think Jimmy, like, locking eyes with it, like one of those daggers that he picks up in his hand, like slowly like backs to the room and then just sprints out of the door.
All right. This is most definitely at this point an athletics roll.
An athletics roll, which I have but one in.
Mm-hmm. Or you want to tell me how you're doing this, because you are now in a chase with a horde of shadow vampires here.
With a horde of shadow vampires. I was hoping to use the Gauntlet talent, but it seems as though they're right on top of me, isn't it?
Oh, no. If you've got the Gauntlet talent,
yeah.
do you want to burn that?
How about survival, Jimmy? Make a pull from survival. The survival says read the environment, follow tracks and traces, locate food, identify threats. So you could definitely pick a good path out of the monastery, knowing on what you've sort of discovered while you're in there.
Yeah, but I like the idea of just being gone from the scene. I'm going to take the Gauntlet talent, which I think is like.
Fair enough. So tell me how you do this. This is a monastery, dark in shadows, hallways. You made your way in here. You've got a couple of days worth of surveillance. This thing isn't going to be able to immediately follow after you. It will, but how do you get the F out of there?
Well, I think we don't know exactly how Jimmy got out of there, but what you see is Jimmy like coming through that door, right? And then there's like the camera following it. There's all the shadows are growing long, and you can hear that screeching, and it's like cuts over his shoulder. You can see one moving down the corridor, and then the Archimandrite just like flows from underneath that door, and it's like going around. And Jimmy like turns a corner, and all these shadows just like fill the corridor, coming around it. And as they come around, it's a dead end, but there's no Jimmy there at all.
And I think we probably cut to the sound of your boots hitting the top of the car.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been in there too long.
Yeah. Roll around, swing yourself into the van. Peter, I assume you're hightailing it back to the vehicle. You're muted.
No, I'll probably radio them and say I'll pick them up probably a little bit later.
Okay.
Because that was pretty obvious what I did. I don't really want it being linked to the van.
Absolutely.
So I'll try and sort of like spend some time chilling, not to implicate the others or the van.
Let's have a driving roll from you, Pavel. This is not particularly paved area, kind of a raised thing. You're trying not to like go off the edge here of this raised hill / cliff, and get yourself down the hill before you can get spotted.
Sure, I'm going to spend 2 d6. Boxcars and 2.
So I imagine we see you hug the edge of the kind of fall off cliff that goes down to the neighborhood below. The couple of the tires lift up as you take that turn. That like maybe a door is coming open, where they're going to come out and see, and you clip that and slam that door back on them. Hit the parking lot, get your tires full on the asphalt, and then little bit of a jump before you hit the road going down, and you are gone like the wind.
Yes, exactly.
And I guess at some point we swoop around and pick up Peter on foot somewhere else and make it back to the safe house.
I assume you kind of go head down these back paths, vanish into the neighborhood below, Peter. And then you'll cross signal. You'll hear the sound of fire engines coming. It's a national interest site, so they'll come for that. And they probably blaze through this neighborhood, not caring about who's there, and head up. And you can kind of see that sort of illumination on the hill, and they're getting that put out. And I assume you fall back to the safe house.
See, they do care about Christians. Who said they didn't?
Well, that didn't go quite according to plan, guys. But I did get, and I dump out the bag of, things, and I pull out the paper on Deria, and I say, "Found your archaeologist friend."
Okay, well, that's the sort of main thing we're looking for.
Yeah,
So,
but also,
I think that was a success.
Yeah, definitely seems like Sadakan's the location for everything. Managed to I managed to cut up the priests, but turns out that the older ones don't seem to be quite so hungry, or the more powerful ones.
Okay, well that's some.
Score half the point on the scoreboard then.
I won't even take that one, Carl. I reckon, killing a man, yeah. But one thing is, and I slide over the Untamed and the water in the tanks, and I say, this could be useful. Purified running water in tanks with a spray hose to deal with the Untamed. Now, as far as we've been able to work out so far, is that they're all bound to these people, right? And even when they're not bound, they're like that one that hid in Henry's shadow. But maybe wherever they come from somewhere, don't they? That's what this whole seal business is around.
Yeah.
So we might need to be prepared for, the opposition, and then this third party, the Untamed. And this could all be useful. And whatever these daggers are, Carl, what do you make of them? You like this weird shit?
Yeah, excuse me, what? Some daggers?
He'll hand you a set of daggers, and I think you will. And this would probably be something you can just glean without a spend from vampirology. They have the look of old instruments of execution or torture, like things with a strong resonance to them.
Seems like stuff connected to very much death. So I don't know, maybe some crucial point in opening whatever they are doing. Otherwise, unrelated, unless it's a bane to some other kind of family of them.
What would a point in vampirology get us on that?
Do you want to make that spend?
I'll make it if Carl doesn't want to.
Yeah, I'll make. I just didn't know there was an option.
I think you will realize that these are clearly items with a strong psychic imprint, a strong emotional imprint to them. And you suspect that when they're saying the Untamed, they may be talking about freshly pulled out vampires, the ones that have just been pulled out from the shadows, that they are dangerous to work with at first, and that these are tools for keeping them in line or dealing with them when that happens.
So the daggers themselves are in some way useful against The shadow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. I wanted to make sure they weren't just knives, you know.
No.
Like
Given what you know about from the Orphic Mysteries about how much these shadows, these shades are bundles of emotion and feeling and that sort of chaos of the mind there, that these daggers in their nature as carrying sort of a strong psychic resonance may affect the young vampires, the young of these shadows.
Interesting. Well, and sage, we should probably stock up on some of that. That shouldn't be too hard to get hold of. But yeah.
Okay, so what we projecting is the next plan of action then?
I guess we make it to Sadakan.
Yeah, and we're expecting to find, you know, scumbags with scumbag vampires.
Yeah, that'd be my reading on it for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Wish
So
we
let's
could
go
have
on a
checked out that
shopping
basement.
spree. Let's go on a shopping spree first with some of the reptile fund.
But
And
you don't
buy-
have the reptile fund.
Somebody else has the reptile fund.
Henry has the reptile fund, and Henry specifically said last time Henry was not sharing that information necessarily with you.
Henry's off dealing with an old contact, I imagine this, you know, like it's come up, don't ask, do you trust me? Do you trust me? Kind of, you know, tense moment of like why she's not here. But
Okay, so we've got access to no funds.
I can grab reptile funds, no problem.
Well, that's just a bit of duplication for no good reason.
We could have a cachet. There's one which lets you have a stockpile of something hidden away somewhere.
Well, I just want to, let's just buy what we can. I mean, it's got to be within our means to buy some sage.
Oh yeah, God yeah, we can get sage. We've got guns.
Some sage, some DIY plant sprayers. Yeah, Hozilot make them, the ones you just put on your back, pre-pressurize them, and it comes with like a little lance for spraying like aphids off roses. Yeah.
Could someone spend a chemistry thing to make purified water?
To create pure water.
Well, we don't, to get this, because I imagine there's multiple ways of purifying water, right? So I'm wondering if we need to.
There is. The easiest one is just to buy it. You can buy it off Amazon. It really is cheap as chips.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I want to make sure that we get the right type of purified water to deal with these.
Well, I like to think when I buy something, it is what it says it is. I don't. To me, that's not.
I don't think they had this in mind. You know, will it work against shadow vampires when they were putting the lid?
No, but purified water is purified water. I mean, you know, it's that's so simple in chemistry that you can buy it. If you want, you know.
Yeah, no, that sounds good to me.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this. We're almost at a little before the hour. Let's take the break, and when we come back, we'll go through what you want to get and what the challenges are of getting that in Istanbul at 3 a.m. And we'll come back and walk through that. Does that sound cool? So let's take 10, and then we'll come back. So, Carl, now last time you went and got some equipment through your contacts, didn't you?
I think it was Jimmy.
Okay, Jimmy went to that. So if you want to get equipment, let me tell you a couple of options that you have, and this is just resources and things like that. There's obviously a couple of choices on talents to do that, but you can also use network to get in contact with somebody to get you stuff supplied. Or if it's a particular kind of materials, like if you're looking for chemicals, a chemistry spend to generate a pool, those are ways to do that. So is there anything you want to get here at this point?
Well, I don't have a pressure to do it at 3 a.m. in the night if it's this time of night.
Probably closer to midnight, but still late. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I really need to get it now because I'm not sure if we are going there right following our excursion and learning about this untamed and how to deal with them, I think we'll see. So I'm just like trying to grasp it. So are there other Greek churches in the city, or only the two that one we invaded and the other we plan to invade?
I think there might be, some other Greek Orthodox things here, but the ones that are tied into are these two monasteries.
Yeah, so I think it would be safer to
yeah.
go to like Catholic church. I think there should be a Catholic church somewhere in Istanbul.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually want to go and get. I want to acquire some quantity of like a really pure water, although just like pure water, and then I want to get it like consecrated by the priest, because if vampires exist, maybe there's actually some fate stuff is also true. So why not get it consecrated? And then Carl is going to go into workshop, A-Team style, and build himself a John Constantine gun that shoots like ampules of this like pure water under pressure, like a John Constantine, like a water shotgun. It's like a cross instead of like the aiming sights.
Yeah, I think you would know with your vampirology, it is less that they are affected by the splat of the water, and more that essentially what's clearly being done is essentially washing them over with it. So it may be more like a fire hose kind of thing. But yeah, I think let's boil that down to a mechanics role. The whole buying, getting it blessed, putting this thing together. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Okay, then let's do that.
Yeah. Well, if it has to be a fire hose, why not? A water fire hose. Although it would be like really hard to carry all this water with us. Yeah, I'm going to spend 3 on this because I really want my water gun.
Okay.
It's a 12.
So I think you can rig up a couple of backpack units that have a significant amount of this purified water in it. You're guessing that it'll be used as a useful anathema for those young vampires, and maybe with a concentrated fire might be able to deal like actually do some serious harm to one of them. And you can get 2 units of them. They're heavy, of course, because water. But you've got it.
Sure.
Peter, what are you doing during the period? Now my assumption is that the whatever assault you're going to do, you are holding off. You're not immediately turning around and doing that.
We need a little bit of shopping time, but clearly, if Jimmy didn't manage to kill the vampire, which he didn't, and I'm sure he'll tell us he didn't, that vampire's just going to pass on the information. So I don't think she's got too much time left on herself, our archaeologist chum. So I think we do need to move. We need to be there at first light, really.
Yeah, I'm imagining this is like Carl worked overnight with stuff at midnight, called up a thing in the middle of the night, did it all. And we've got like the daytime to do some stuff.
Let's do some open source research on this. It wasn't a was it a monastery?
Yeah, it's an old monastery.
Yeah. Let's do some open research on that place. Where is it set? Routes of access. Just with Google Photos probably, and satellite imaging.
Why don't you make a surveillance spend to essentially do the traffic analysis and look over it?
Spent.
So the Sadakhan itself is out on the Black Sea. It's actually kind of a more touristy, built up kind of area in the neighboring region. The monastery itself is kind of on an upraised set of old stone that overlooks the Black Sea, and it's normally a very basic plan monastery that's has fallen into disrepair in the past. But what has happened in the last 18 months is they have built essentially an enclosure around the whole thing. And so there are these sort of high white walls that are reinforced that have been built by these contractors for quote unquote restoration work. So it is essentially pretty significantly cut off. However, that there are still contractors that are apparently working there. So there is some space nearby for machinery, you know, and a
The old co-callers again. Automated even.
Hello, good morning. Would you like to buy some fresh donuts? We make donuts by the hour. They are fresh.
I'd probably say yes to that on some days. You know, if someone rang me up and was like, "Do you want some donuts?" I'd say yes.
Do you want to subscribe to 24 Hours Monkey Tennis?
yeah. This is one of those numbers that it rings through, but then it gets caught by my blocker because it's one of the Amazon has charged you X amount of money. You know, if you made this purchase, call us up, kind of blah blah blah.
Other online retailers are available.
Hardline. There's a hard line. I think it's called hard line on the or the landline. A blocker for like incoming calls.
Yeah.
I have it on the phone, so I can register numbers to block it out. The problem is that we need this phone is necessary for work because Sherry works in a financial institution, so we have to have a secondary line there.
Interesting.
So what you will see is outside there's the usual sort of chain link fence around the work area where we've got, you know, the portable office and machinery and things like that. So they are still apparently doing some construction, though it has clearly dropped off, and you're not sure whether they're having workers come now, but the stuff is still outside. The one thing that will be noted in the sort of general discussion of the site is radiography and such in sort of previous, how do I put this? Previous work and excavations in the site showed that there were some underground chambers, but as of 18 months ago when the site was closed off, those hadn't been opened or excavated or anything.
Okay.
That seemed like fair info.
That's really good info, and
Yeah.
I think we can. I'd like to then purchase some spelunking equipment.
Okay.
Or at least sort of prepare for some sort of spelunking venture.
I think that seems reasonably easy to source, and I think with the spare money that you have around, you can get the basics of that.
Any nearby woods?
Probably not. No, this is an area that's been built up, and there's more industrial development. And again, we're talking here a Turkish area, so a fairly dry, some greenery around, but no real woods nearby.
Okay. Well then, driving from here to there, at any stage we stop, let's rip some branches off a tree, make some living wood sort of stakes. Fresher the better. So, when we're reasonably close, I think, you cut off a branch from a tree, and the leaves will stay good for a few days.
Yeah.
So now
let me check in with Jimmy, and then I'll come back to you. How's that sound?
yeah, that
Okay.
sounds good.
Jimmy?
Is Sadakan is then I imagined it as kind of like a ways from anything directly nearby. Like
That's exactly. While the sort of the built up touristy area is around there, it's still a ways away from that. It's kind of an isolated, rough, difficult to get to kind of place.
Question.
Yes.
Is it on the, because I understood that it is on somewhere on a small island and on the sea, or is it just my imagination? Because
It's on the coast, but it's not on an island.
Oh, okay, on the coast, but on an island. Cool.
Yeah,
No,
I
not on
imagine
an
it was
island.
kind of like up from the cliff line, you know, like
Yeah.
the shoreline, like because it's a monastery, right? So it's overlooking the sea probably, but
Mhm.
somewhere fairly inhospitable for otherwise it'd be part of the tourist trail. So yeah, cool. Okay. I think I need to do a mid-session refresh mainly with anything else.
Okay.
So you know, I guess I ring Kasha. Or I ring if I don't get through to Kasha, I ring Lucy. I probably don't have Lucy's number, do I?
We have Cash's number, and
Yeah.
I think there'll be that thing where there's clearly a kind of a sense of caller ID, and the phone picks up, and it is Lucy's voice.
Hi Lucy. Is your mother in?
How can I help you, Mr. Rook?
Well, I was hoping to speak to Kasha. You know, I did ring her.
She's a little indisposed right now, but maybe I could help you with something.
Just to tell you that, you know, it's all underway. You'll be finished doing your work for you soon.
Good. Why don't you give me a second, and I'll see if I can rouse her.
Just wait.
And there is that minute, and then Kasha picks up on Jimmy.
How's it going, love? What's up?
I've been better.
Hmm.
You're going to get me out of this, aren't you?
Yeah, of course I am. Anything weird happened, Kasha? You know, beyond Mystery Woman.
She pauses and she says, define weird, because I know you were mixed up with some shit, but you never said the V word.
Well, you know, I didn't want to bring my tinfoil hat. I wanted to leave my tinfoil hat at home. But it's, you know, now that you've said it, it's all true. It's very much more complicated. Turns out, you know, Dracula's true. I mean, that's why I'm getting sidetracked. I just wanted to share that with
She
someone else
goes,
for once.
oh, I know that.
Oh,
I know that
well,
because she told me. And I don't know if I entirely believe her, but she says she's in the book.
Lucy. That Lucy. I thought that was Mina Harker's friend, not her daughter. It's Dracula. You give me a lot to think about, Kasha.
well, think fast, because I get the sense that they're very serious about this.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. We don't actually know many of the Banes of the others, do we? I know I asked her, Kasha, was she out in daylight?
No.
Well then, we'll get this sorted soon. But you know, no time like the present if it comes for a bit of tanning, is there?
She says, if I had that option, I would take it.
Okay. I just say, well, don't worry. You know, you've got friends, Kasha.
She says, I'd rather have you.
I think I'm happy to call that there. I
Yeah.
mean, it seems as though she would know all of the things like, you know, try and eat some garlic
Okay.
and all of that crosses. Try all of the usual.
We'll give you that refresh. Carl, before I come back to Peter, is there anything else you want to do prep wise?
I don't know what our plan is. So if it was on the water, I already had some plan on doing it. But if it's on the ground, probably just jumping over the fence would do. No, nothing comes to mind. I will
Okay.
use preparedness.
Sure. Peter.
Yeah, I will spend my open talent to take cash.
Okay.
And let's go for a large duffel bag of C4 explosives. So I think this is a long-term British sort of hidden cache somewhere in Istanbul that basically, well, I think in a graveyard. I think you see me late at night digging up some sort of British sort of name in a graveyard tombstone, me digging up this grave and pulling out this hidden cache of C4 hidden in a tomb somewhere in Istanbul.
Yeah, you pull it out of there. It is old. The plastic has done that thing where it's kind of gotten a little bit of a crisp to it. But you'll pull it out, and we see you loading it. It's old school det cord and real base C4, and you'll load that up in your vehicle.
Cool.
Jimmy, anything else you want to do? You're muted.
No, I just muted myself. No, I think that the the question now lies in how do we make entry into Sadakan? And I don't think we can really answer that until we get closer to it.
So we will cut to early in the morning, a view through the binoculars, a goodly distance away, the van, concealed. You can see that while there's that work yard with like lumber and bricks and, the portable out there and stuff, and some, basic machinery there, surrounded by a fence with barbed wire on it. Surprisingly, like there's no watchman, which surprises you given the value of the vehicles and tools that might be there. Of course, we're in a difficult to reach area, but there's certainly no work people on the site. But what will strike you as unusual is that in what's clearly a cleared area next to the facility, there is a helicopter there. Thermal will show the bleed off that tells you that it came in the middle of the night. Looks like not a short hop, but like a long distance, like corporate style helicopter.
Eurydice, I'm thinking.
Checking the numbers back.
Eurydice?
Yeah, checking the numbers back. Yeah, it's definitely a helicopter that is registered to Eurydice Industries.
Well, good that I have taken my crossbows I made last time. We might find some use for it if our friends are here.
Nice. And Celine came through with some weaponry, so we've got some conventional firepower. I'll just go over our the assets that we've got so far. Is sage, water cannon, 2 of these knives, a live oak stakes, guns, flares, ammo, probably like bottles of purified water as well, right? And C4, and now crossbow bolt as well.
Yeah.
So between us all, we're packing. It's the method of approach, I suppose. So the helicopters come in. We don't. Yeah, do we see guards? I suppose is there.
It does look like there are security cameras around on the area, and it does look like they have some kind of security force on site, but you're not seeing them like out walking the grounds right now.
I would really like to have the drone do a fly around, look for a good approach vector. Maybe we need to like climb the cliff to get there uninvited, or maybe I will find kind of like a pattern in the cameras which we can exploit to get close.
Sure, make a surveillance spend.
Yes, I will do just that.
I think you've got 2 options. One is like not covered, and that is definitely going down and coming up the cliffside. That the where the monastery and the wall abuts up against the cliff, that's not an area that's particularly watched or cameraed or anything like that. The other option is you can see, just based on where the chain link fence is and where the machinery is, there is a way that you could move in more serpentine, and there's at least one relatively blind spot. It's still, you know, a challenge, but you could make it just going overland.
But is it like is there like a part of where the wall isn't finished, or do I just see like a kind of like a blind spot in the camera, but we still need to like climb the wall and
in both cases there's climbing the wall, but this one, you know, has that semi blind spot. The one that's on the cliffside doesn't have any cameras on it.
To me, for cinematic effect, it's got to be the cliff. It's got, you know, chain link fences are 10 a penny, but you know, a real sort of, you know, sea wind going through your hair, you know, Carl's leg giving it the old disco foot. You know, that's what we want to see. Bit of disco leg Carl. I mean, he is a mover and a shaker, so that's what we want to see.
Yeah. So are we all climbing, or is only Carl climbing and we're going for the other way?
I was hoping you could do everything, Carl, and we'll just sit this one out. But no.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's do this as one athletics roll. To essentially be the lead person to climb, plant the pitons, pull, you know, others can follow up, but get things set into place, and get yourself up and into position. So I assume, Carl, this is the kind of thing you practiced, you know, back in the Grom. You did this all the time. This was a weekend.
Yeah. So I'm really happy to take a lead on this and help everyone with the gear and go back and forth to grab all the gear, because probably we need like at least someone to go back and bring the bulk of the explosives, because we have a lot of gear with us. Sure.
I'm imagining you pulling that on a rope after you've attached it. You know, you're at the top, you just haul it up like the bag, like deadlift, Carl.
Yeah, probably. I like spending 2 on stuff, so I'm going to spend 2 on this, unless someone wants to spend 1 to give me for a total of +3.
Yeah, I'll spend 1. I'll belay him up basically, because his disco leg concerns me.
Okay,
so yeah, I'll spend 1 from athletics.
If you spend an extra 1, it pushes this to a 10. Otherwise, it would have been a 9.
So there is that bit where you're getting up and This is not the best cliff for climbing. It's exposed to the sea air. It's softer than you would like. And there is that bit where, you have a slip, but because Peter's tied off and set, you stop before you can fall very far. We get the music from Cliffhanger. We get some shots, some like good shots where like the cliff comes out and you have to do that, climb up and around. And then we see your hand kind of come up the top of the cliff, pull yourself up. You've got a little bit of room here. The others come up, you do that freehand pull up, see the sweat on you. As you do that, we get that nice shot. Here's a duffel bag of C4. Here's the big bag of guns. Here are the tanks of water. And you guys are positioned here on essentially the dead side of this barrier wall, which you can go over to make your way into the monastery.
Carl just want to as we are climbing, he just want to point at the duffel bag that maybe got open, and we see that there's the C4. And when we are done climbing, Carl looks at Peter and asks, "So I guess the plan is to get Lady Archaeologist, learn stuff, and then kaboom."
Pretty much so. I know chew bubble gum, that's for sure.
Henry wouldn't like it, but it's got the job done, hasn't it? So,
as John Wayne would say, this
Yeah.
man's business.
Yeah, maybe if we had a whole 3 brigades of trained SAS crack killers, we could not use explosives, but between the three
True.
of us,
It's a cheap man's answer. Explosive. And I is cheap.
I think you're gonna lose your first spot on the scoreboard with this.
So,
Get ahead of ourselves.
Jimmy, I assume you'll pop your head over and do a quick look at the grounds, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm imagining we're all in dark clothes and and I think I've got an MP5 sort of probably quite old SMG sort of thing slung across my back, and I'm gonna try and see how we can penetrate further into the area.
You'll get over. I mean, and this wall is very deliberately built to obscure outside vision. It's much higher than it needs to be for these purposes. You'll get up and look over and kind of look at the grounds. The monastery is significantly sized, so you've got some blind spots and dead spots and things that you can spot here. There, of course, piles of rubble and material stuff that has been hauled out. Thing that will strike you is whatever renovations they're doing, has to be interior to this place, because you're not seeing a lot of external renovations. What you are seeing is guys in security uniforms doing patrols with German Shepherds.
Yeah, I duck back down and I tell them we need to make it through to the interior, but there are patrols. I could lead us through, but I noticed that we have a wonderful talent on the board that could be of use here.
Are you talking about Mother Duck?
Yes.
Well, yeah, lead a group of allies to a secure location. I'm not too sure that going in, I think it's more for coming out. So I don't think that's right.
Oh, is it? I thought it was for going in. Into a secure location. We are going into a secure location.
Yeah.
Is it secure?
Yeah, it's secured by them against us.
A protected, secured location, essentially. The security is meant to represent that it is under guard.
Oh, okay. So I think sort of looking at the guard patterns then, sort of working out a good time to, hustle. Let's go for it. I will make that spend.
I'm imagining you've even got like a stopwatch, right? And it's like,
Go.
Yeah. You've had the cameras on them, you've been watching them, maybe took an hour to kind of watch the patrols. It's early morning, so they're not the most alert. You wait, you've got probably some spray to keep your scent down. And there is that drop over, go over, fall in onto the ground, move around, and find an egress into the monastery itself. It is cold when you go in there. Move inside. You can tell that there are maybe some offices where there are some people that are in here, but generally you're moving into the big overarching hall, some of the monks' rooms. And because you three have been looking at this material, this occult material, you'll see, it's very much Greek Orthodox style paintings, illustrations, things like that. Some of this, of course, is a little bit iconoclastic, but there's lots of imagery you'll see woven into this that speaks to you of these Orphic vampires and their tradition, the way that the way the smoke rises from things, the pictures of trees with pomegranates, the lyre worked into things, the way sort of shadowy figures are here, the lettering and things. And
do we perhaps infer that this might be a location where one of the seals might be, or is it, are the patterns to do with this temple, does it seem? Or
this does seem like a center point. This does seem like something important here.
I wonder if the basement was near the place was as well. Okay, sorry.
And I think you can do a quick recon of this place, and the thing that will strike you is how few people there are up here. There's spaces where they've done some reconstruction on some of the monks' rooms and things like that, or the chapel where there's some braces put up to hold the ceiling up and that kind of thing. And if you've been in a place that has that kind of bracing and stuff, there's lots of that sort of plastic tarp that obscures your long distance view. And if this was John Wick, you'd get thrown through it at some point. And there's lots of scaffolding and stuff. The security people don't really move through here, except for maybe once an hour to kind of do a quick check-in. They're mostly patrolling the outskirts. And you'll, though, quickly find with your survival skill, Carl, this is probably you spotting it, where the tracks lead, drag marks, marks of like equipment being moved, but also things like a child's shoe and a dropped wallet, those kinds of things. And it means you have to kind of go deeper into the center part of this monastery. And when you get there, there is very dim lighting in here. But you can see where from the place where, when you were looking at the illustrations of the site, where there was a wall, and that they had done some of the echo reading, that they thought that might be a place to get down to the lower catacombs. You can see that there is a vault door that has been installed here.
Can I crack it?
Let's see you try.
Would that be mechanics?
That would be mechanics would be that, or Filch. Either one of those would be good.
I will spend mechanics.
Okay. So I imagine that the two of you are, goods set up, providing cover, watching the area for anything that might pop up. Jimmy, Bagel Vault, clearly recently installed in the last year.
Need to reconnect to roll with me, it seems.
Before we crack the vault, do we want to move around and maybe look for information? I assume we snapped a few photos of this
Yeah, there doesn't seem
painting?
like anything else above ground. Like clearly the upstairs of this monastery is unimportant to what they are doing.
Is this the place? Have we reached, the site of the apocalypse? One, or is there more than one? Or we don't know, do we really?
You really don't know, do you?
Yeah, we've had reference to seals, but I had the impression
Seals and the Underworld.
Yeah.
Yes, those references have been made in the past.
I take it the guards do not look. The level of guards is not at the level around a building site. Just to make that clear.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely higher. But
Yeah.
they're operating on the outside. It doesn't look like they're builders here today, and maybe not for a few days.
Okay.
I got a 10 on my my roll, and I think that's what I'm whispering as I'm working the locks, right? And I'm like, is this fucking it? Is this the underworld through here? Are we gonna I thought it was being Greece, but sweating as
No,
he
it's Duck McScrooge's vault. Just get it open.
And there's
For sake, I really hope that Thor is there to help us out because we really could use some help. Please continue.
it's a high-end one. There's the electronic bit to it. You have to do the freeze on some of the lines. You have to work it in there, and eventually you'll get it open, and there'll be that, and you can tell that you've disabled any kind of alert that would tell people downstairs that the door is open, because there's definitely wiring that runs that way, and you'll get it open, and it's a new vault door, so it's whisper quiet when it comes open. And it opens up, and they clearly had to break into this wall and then install this thing. And there are a set of steps, old, and go downwards, but immediately curve. It's clearly a spiral set of stairs that go down. And you're immediately assaulted by this smell. Like a hazy kind of smell that comes over you, and you can make your way down these steps.
I know, as the door opens, I nod and I wave Peter forward.
Who's taking point on these steps? Is it you, Carl? Is it you, Peter?
I'm happy to take the point.
Okay.
I'm just want to ask for clarification. We learned that burning sage is used to kind of scare them off.
That apparently the burning of the fresh sage does act in some instances as an anathema. You suspect probably for the younger ones.
Yeah.
And
does this smell natural or sort of like man-made substance? So is it like diesel fumes or sort of drug plant? Sort of, it's nothing.
You know what it reminds you of is one time when you were doing a tour in Greece, and you went to one of those Apollonian caves of the Sibyl, which has kind of the almost volcanic gases that get emitted. It smells like that, like something cracked in the earth and is leaking this upwards.
So it's not like that meat processing plant that me and Carl were on top of.
No, not at all.
No, well, that's a good sign. In sort of, yeah, it's not a meat processing plant kind of way. Yeah.
Carl,
Very well. Lead the way, Carl.
you will make your way down these steps, and you can see now as you go down in the bit of light that you have here, that there are more of these sort of Greek underworld Orphic illustrations on the wall. There's a great deal of that, that saltpeter and the cave leakage that has run these and shattered them, but you still will see that. Carl, this goes down a ways, and there comes a point at which you kind of have to put your hand out to sort of brace yourself, and you realize that there's a lot of carbon dioxide down here, and fumes, and you might want to have a breather mask on of some kind.
Well, I of course open my backpack and hope to find there 3 gas masks.
Let's have you make your preparedness roll.
Yeah, I'm going to spend 2. 2 for gas masks. 10.
10. So yeah, you knew. Peter talked about spelunking. You knew you might be going underground. There's always the dangers of that kind of cave fumes and things, and so you will pull out those masks, pass them around, and start moving down. And you will hit a point at which the stairs stop, opens up into a wider area. It reminds you a little bit of that chamber that you saw in Paris. Like maybe that chamber was decorated and built to echo this layout. And you can see that there, where the sort of the temple is, there are a set of doors that, like, it almost looks like maybe there's a shaft that goes down from there. But there are some tables around, some ceremonial tables and things, and goods, like piles of zip ties, handcuffs, looks like ketamine, those kinds of things off to the side. But other like work tables and things. But there are in here a set of guards. They have not been alerted that the vault door was opened, so they are not on particularly high alert right this second.
Are those the same military guys as upstairs, or are these vampire guards?
Think you'll check, take a look, and kind of watch. There are 3 of them in here, and you've gotten good at watching people's shadows, and they are the same sort of company as above, but you can see that they have shadows that kind of flicker a little bit more.
Okay, we're well armed and prepared here, so I don't think this should be insurmountable.
Carl, how do you want to play this?
Yeah, so they don't really look like a fresh vampire, so probably those are not untamed. Yeah, oh, we need to like first pull the guy out.
Be one of them, and the blood will draw.
Yeah, let's just fuck the people up, and then we'll fuck the vampires up with wooden stakes. That's good mythology. Let's do them.
Yeah, fine. Carl grabs his shotgun, and I plan on going across the corner, shooting the guys up. My plan is to like wound most of them so that it will draw their vampires, maybe on them, and see what will happen then, and then we'll have to like deal with the vampires.
Okay. So this feels like at this point, these guys are serious. They're vampires, so they're not an inferior foe. However, you do have the edge. You've got the drop on them at this point. So I will let you roll combat against an equal foe with advantage.
Awesome. I'm going to spend two on the shooting.
Okay.
3 dice. That's a 12 because 5 and 5. 2, that's a 12.
12.
Really
Deal-
nice there, Carl.
Deal harm to your foe and suffer no harm, and you get to choose 2.
Give or take advantage forward, shift the edge, position in conflict, other benefits as negotiated.
You could
I
give your
think
2.
I'm going to reposition. It might be for the future. Yeah, I basically want to reposition so that they will see me moving.
Okay.
They will probably not maybe expect that there are more people coming with me. So I basically want to shoot and reposition across the room so that the guys will have like a clear line of fire on the vampires. And I think the benefit to the fee that I want to negotiate here is I basically want to like, this is shotgun, so this is like a lot of pellets. So these guys will bleed and will probably like draw the vampires out.
Absolutely, I think that's fair. So you'll move, get yourself to another thing. So you draw attention from the hall. So Jimmy and Paul will be able to act. And you rush and you do that thing. You fire, at the legs and thighs where the arteries are. And you've forgotten how loud a shotgun is in an enclosed area. But it is loud and it will echo throughout here. And 2 of them will drop down, clutching at their legs. Blood sprays out from one of them, and you'll immediately see that the shadows begin to manifest. The third guy, turns and is spraying. And again, as you like dive behind the table, the glassware that's on it is flying up as he's letting loose with that. Jimmy.
I run forward as those shadows, and I have that crossbow launcher that Carl had previously, and I'm going to run up and take aim at one of those shadows because the guy's focusing on Carl at the moment.
Combat against an equal foe.
And that would be shooting, I imagine, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be.
Yeah. Can I spend a military science to give us all a 3-point pool for this?
Yeah, I like that. That's a good point.
Tactics.
Good burn that through. Yeah. You coordinated on this.
Yeah. Like you draw their fire, I'll come in and because that'll lure off one guy. He'll get into cover away from Carl, right? So like the body of his friends and the vampires forming around them is somewhere between those 2. And so that's 3 points from that. I've noticed how much I burned in my thing. So
you did burn quite a bit.
Yes, I did. So I'm going to spend one of those and one of my operational pool. So that leaves us with
We still have the edge, or does the edge stays with us, or does it go away?
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. They haven't retaken the edge, and I don't think this situation has burned it off yet. So I'm going to give you roll to advantage on that.
Okay, cool. So then I'll spend 2 and roll with advantage. That is a 10.
That is a 10. So deal harm to your foe and choose 2.
I deal more harm.
Okay.
I want to really get something with this crossbow bolt.
Okay.
And I want to give the advantage forward for whatever these, dealing with these vampires, basically.
Okay. So you have the edge. Somebody will give advantage, but on the next thing after that, they'll have advantage on that if as long as the situation doesn't like change.
Mhm.
But you come out and they still got the echoes of this, and you kind of run in here. And the thing is, you realize this room is not as big maybe as you thought it was. But you run up and that vampire is forming up to like suckle at the blood. The head is going for the guy's thigh to just drink it out, and you plug that right into this vampire, and it will screech and fall back, and then just leaps at you, and it will claw at you for 2 harm.
2 harm. I'll take that 2 harm.
Okay. Are you wearing body armor?
I am wearing body armor.
Then you only take 1 harm.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. But I think I get slammed right against the
Yeah.
concrete, right, by it, skidding across the floor. Probably that
Yeah.
crossbow thing, like flying, like skittering across out my
It
hand
is
as well.
it is in very bad shape. Like clearly that hit from it that was like a good chunk of its strength expended, knocking you back. And there are 2 others that are concentrating on feeding, and this one is kind of roiling back in pain. Peter.
I would like to. I think the tried and true PbtA combat method of allowed sort of charging scream at this one that's just come over on Jimmy.
Mhm.
I haven't actually got a ranged weapon. Well, I haven't got a ranged crossbowy thing. So I think as that comes more towards me and Jimmy, I'll sort of scream and plunge my oaken sort of dagger come spear. I'm not too sure what sort of length of oak I have, but yes, plunge that into it.
Tell you what, I'm going to read this as combat against an inferior foe, because I think Jimmy's attack would have changed the scale on this. So roll that with advantage. There's almost no chance that you could mess this up.
Oh, you say that. Okay,
I do.
So 3d6, and I will spend 2 of my own pool. A 5, a 4 plus 2 gives me an 11.
Okay. So you will jam this into this thing, and there'll be this screech as the shadow disintegrates, and you'll see it disintegrate and fly out down that hole as it's drawn back in into the underworld.
Ooh, okay. Let me note that down.
Yes.
Underworld.
There are 2 vampires still here. Now, you're going to have 1 more round. After this round, if any of them are not dealt with, then there's going to be some like resistance overcome kind of things when it comes around, because they are fast. But there are 2 of them, and they are feeding. But now one of their number is there's also still a guy with a gun. 2 of them are badly wounded. The 3rd one is not. Carl.
I guess I'm probably waiting for the guy to start reloading, and then just like rolls out of the cover to take out the last guy with the gun.
Okay. Combat against an equal foe, but with advantage.
Yeah, need to deal with them in order. For advantage, I'm going to spend 1 on shooting.
Okay.
And hope for the best. 12 again. 5, 6, and a 1. That's a 12 again.
Look at that. So deal harm to your foe and suffer no harm. And I think dealing harm is going to kill him. Okay. Just a couple of shots in his throat. What do you want as your 2 choices?
I'm kind of thinking what those choices can mean. I don't know. Maybe it means that the vampires are going to separate. They are not going to be together on the guys I shot before, but one of them goes for the fresh blood, so that the vampires are separated.
Okay, so they can't. You move them apart, And let's say that it'll separate them apart, and we'll give again Jimmy and Peter both advantage in this round. Does that seem like a fair way to read that?
Yeah.
So Jimmy, Peter rushes up, jabs this thing, kills it. The two vampires, this third guy gets blasted. One of the vampires rushes over to feed from him. The other one is still drinking from the screaming guy's leg. He's screaming as the blood is pouring out of his body. The other one is just exsanguinated and lying still on the ground, but you get two vamps.
I pull out that knife, one of the knives that we found, and I'm, while this one's feeding, I'm not going to get a better chance than to try and stab it in the back of the head with it.
Okay, let us have you go ahead and make that combat roll against an equal foe with advantage.
Oh, still with advantage. Nice. I will spend two from the remaining two from that pool.
Okay.
Jesus. That's a 6.
That is a 6.
I rolled 1, 2, 2.
So you move up and you're set. And when you do, this thing spins and it knocks that knife out of your hand. And then it drags its claw across your throat.
Yeah, I block it, I think.
Gonna spend that
I'm
blocker
gonna
on
spend
that?
talent,
Okay.
yeah, on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you are knocked on the ground, but tell me how you block this shadowy claw from just tearing your throat out.
I think it's with that knife. Like it goes, for the hand with the knife, and like I spin it around, and like as it goes in to grab, like the knife pierces through that hand, and it
pulls
back.
it away. Knife goes flying. You don't take any harm, but you are on your butt right now. And it is now you are a threat to it. Peter.
I think more of the stabby, same kind of motion.
Okay.
It's killed one tonight, and I think so. Yeah, while it's on top of Jimmy, let's sort of like sandwich it. Hopefully it doesn't go incorporeal and the stake goes straight through Jimmy. That would be a horrendous.
That would be a tremendous 6 or less fail. Yes.
We'll save that for the boxcars. So pretty much the same again. Apart from this time, I'm only going to spend 1, but it is with advantage.
Yep.
Because Carl passed it forwards. So let me chock the modifier down by 1, and I should have spent 2. 9.
A 9. So deal harm to your foe and choose one.
I think let's go for extra damage. So I'll take some, but I'd like to do some extra.
So this thing will slash you for 2 harm. Your body armor will wear that down to 1. But you will stab into this thing and get that stake buried deeply into it, and it is fading away even as it's trying to get at you. Peter, if I could have you make a roll to evade.
Certainly. 2d6. What, just flat?
Well, you can spend evasion to evade this because there's that last vampire.
Okay, yeah, sure. Where is evasion there? Let's spend 1.
Okay.
7. Hey, if I'd have spent 2 more, it would still not made no difference.
So this thing hits you and smacks that stake out of your hand and sends it flying down that hole, but you don't take any damage.
Okay, not too bad.
Carl, one vampire left. one screaming dying guy.
So only one vampire left.
Because Peter knifed that second one and it's fading away.
Cool. So if I remember, Jimmy had the knife and it dropped somewhere.
Mhm.
So I would assume I would stand up, sprint, grab the knife, and while the thing is kind of focused on Peter frantically trying to stay alive, I will come from behind it and knife it.
Okay. Combat against equal foe.
Do we still have the advantage?
No.
No. I wonder, because there are so many talents over here, but yeah, is there anything in fighting? Yeah, let's roll.
Okay.
I'm going to spend 2. 2 dice +2. That's a 7.
That is a 7. So deal harm to your foe and choose one.
Yeah, I'm going to knife it properly good, probably like jump on it, try to like grab the shadow as much as possible, and just like keep knifing it from behind. So I'm going to go for like more harm.
Okay. Then I think it will get its hands up and slash into you for 3 harm, since it's been able to solidify from that blood. -1 for your body armor.
Yeah. So should I roll take harm?
Take the hit. Yep. So you'll roll with the +1.
So +1. Let's see how bad it is. It's an 8.
Choose one.
Lose your footing. Drop something important. Lose track of someone or something you're supposed to be on top of. Give an edge to your foe. Well, it was pretty hectic fight, but I'm not sure what we can lose. Lose track of something or something you're supposed to be on top of, but I'm not sure. Do we like lose the bag of explosives? No, because it's Peter's one. I think I'm going to go with like losing the knife.
Okay.
Maybe as the thing just like turned into like gust of wind and went down the hole. Maybe it like knocked the dagger from my hand and it's like, I don't know, vanished somewhere, or maybe even fallen down the hole as well.
You're down to 1 knife that is gone. But it gets then that kind of quiet, though you hear from that whole like lots of whispered voices in the distance. Let's take 5 and we'll come back. So there's those whispers and the echoes. The last guy gurgles out, and you will look. There is a set of incredibly steep steps that go downwards. I don't know if you've ever been on a pyramid, like where the steps are just so short and tight, and it's like that. And it's incredibly disconcerting. You can see Carl, you will note that there are definitely marks along the side where clearly they've had ropes to like lower stuff down. You've got enough skills in tracking to immediately spot that. But there's a kind of, that smell is stronger down below. And you can definitely hear voices, like there are, now that you've gotten at the top of this, there's that whispering, but then there are people like talking and they may be shouting orders that's getting swallowed up in whatever is going on down there. Wow. What do you want to do? How do you want to do this?
Delivered all that.
Yeah, I think to buy us a little bit of moment, I think we see Carl takes this like fancy torch. It's a very modern torch, and I don't mean like flashlight. I mean like a medieval torch, except that it's made half to create light in case you want to go down there, and the other half of it is like this like sage, so that it's burning, giving light and burning a little bit of sage at the same time. And Carl just like fires it up and just like places it just next to the exits, in hopes that if there are this like untamed coming out, it will like keep them inside for now until we decide what do we do next.
I mean, should we go down with a burning sage censer, like, you know, holding it out kind of as we go? Because they know that we're coming. They've heard the shotgun blasts and all this sort of stuff, right? Like,
Let's apply a bit of tech and let's lob a drone down there.
a drone?
Well, it at least allows you to see what's going on down there.
Sooner or later, we're gonna have to go down there, man. As I say, we just go down
I'm
there.
fully prepared to go down there. You know,
If you would like the time, take the time to get the drone out, get it set, and send it down. I'm absolutely fine with that. But my clock is ticking right now.
Yeah, and I think we move. You know, like if this, you know, this is what they teach you. You know,
okay, well,
DCHQ tells you to use tech.
let's secure some ropes and go over the side then. You first.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Jimmy, dropping down first.
Yeah, I will do. And you know, I think I grab that torch that Carl's put down as I go down with it.
It's you know, hook on the ropes that you have here to the spots where they've used it to lower down, and you use that to make it a faster descent than trying to go down those steps. And you'll kind of rappel down into this chamber. And it's a cave. When you kind of hit the ground there, you know, there's that sort of giving of rubble and pebbles, because it all kind of slopes downward, and it's illuminated by kind of bluish purplish light. And what you will see is it slopes, and then it slopes fairly steeply. And as you drop down the like 30 feet from the hole to the bottom, you see that there is at the sort of base of where that slope goes down, it almost looks like water that's burning and smoke. And there are these maybe 100, 150 shadowy figures that are roiling in there and coming up.
How many did you say?
About 100, 150.
100, 150.
That are just roiling, that are forming up there. You will see that there is a like makeshift cage at the edge where the slope begins to kind of go down, and you can see that there are people in it.
Oh, people in cages.
Yeah. It looks like these are probably the kidnapped Roma and Kurds and so on from there. You will definitely see your archaeologist friend. But the other thing that you see that does like immediately strike your attention as you're going down is that there are a couple of clearly priests in that sort of same sort of Orphic ceremonial robes that are close by the edge of that water. As these things are kind of moving past them, they're clearly marked or protected or something, because these things aren't coming for them. Instead, they're rushing the cage and coming up, boiling up. But the other thing you will see is Morgaine. And you see that she's got some kind of briefcase box that's open. And like clearly she's arrived by a helicopter. She's got this open, and she's like has clearly been rushing to get it open once the shotgun thing's open, and has it, and is holding this pomegranate out towards one of these priests. What do you do?
Shoot Morgaine.
Okay. Then right now, this is combat against a superior foe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I'll roll with 2. That's a 7.
That is a 7. So deal harm to your foe and choose one.
Other benefit as negotiated would be stopping whatever, removing an element of whatever ritual, like shooting this pomegranate if that's a significant
Superior
object.
foe, so we have a different table, yes?
Oh, sorry, yes. Deal no harm, but get to narrate how you have pushed back, or exchange harm with your foe. I'll exchange harm with my foe.
Okay. Then I think you will hit Morgaine. She does it like, that bullet hits. You'll see this old man form, that figure that you saw in that first thing, and it begins to rush up towards you as she kind of staggers back, and clearly the priests who were concentrating on this, like the pomegranate is in the shuffle right now. Whatever they were about to do with that is delayed for the moment. And then you look down and you realize how close some of these shades are to you as they grab at your legs and rip you off of that rope. Take 2 harm, -1 for your body armor.
Okay.
Who's next?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, Peter, also rappelling down.
Yeah.
Okay, you rappel down. You see that Jimmy's been yanked off. Some of these sort of forerunners, these wild, untamed spirits are grabbing and trying to drag him back down. You see those people in the cage. You see Morgaine. You see those priests. What do you want to do?
I will do my best water boy impression, and with my spray gun, hit them with some good old H2O.
Okay. Combat against an equal foe.
Okay. Is this fighting? Well, it doesn't really matter. It comes from the same pool, isn't it? Fighting, or oh no, shooting's a different pool.
Yeah, you can choose how you want to do this.
Yeah, I think sort of like shoot them with the H2O.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a projectile weapon. So spending 2. Let's roll and save Jimmy again. 12. Get in there.
12. So deal harm to your foe and suffer no harm. Choose 2. If you deal more harm, you'll get like both of them.
Okay, so it's choose 2. So that would be one of them. And sorry, I've got to get to the tab and read this quickly. What are the options?
Advantage forward, shift the edge, reposition the conflict, or something else.
Well, I think so. I've done extra damage, so I think push forwards. I'd like to try and sort of start working my way to where our archaeologist is.
So essentially, you open this up, and it'll empty one of the 2 tanks, but that running water, that clean running water, just absolutely like severs their ability to hold on to where they're at. You have a sense that if you were to hit a person, the shadow of a person that this is on, this would potentially sever them from that, depending on their power. But these 2, fly off and away from Jimmy, and you hit the ground, and you have closed half the distance towards that cage. Sound good?
Sounds really good. Can I just point out that I didn't actually bring the C4 down here with me? I wouldn't have rappelled down with that. I'll have left that up the top.
I'm assuming you have a remote detonator, though.
Yeah.
Okay, just to make sure. Okay. Pavel, Carl.
just to bury us under the explosives. Excellent.
Henry comes back. Alan, I'll be running the last session with just you.
Yeah, I think it'll be only Alan for the last session. It's all up to Alan. Yeah, I think Carl waits a little moment to like observe the situation from the like top, especially that Jimmy had this like torch down the bottom. So so Carl hooks to one of the
and that's a good point. Actually, let me add to what you're saying there. I do think there is a kind of a cloud of that Molly right at the base of the stairs right now.
just what?
A cloud of that sage, that Molly, that
Yeah.
smoke is right at the base of the stairs.
Yeah. I think Carl grabs. Is there a line that Carl can swing down on?
100%.
Yeah. So Carl grabs this line, and
Rappels down.
and seeing that we are cooperating with Jimmy. Jimmy was down there first. He grabbed the attention of the old man and the Morgaine. So as Carl is going down, he like swings on the rope and cuts it so that on the swing I like land just next to Morgaine, and I'm going to use one of my cool talents, tactician, to get the edge.
Okay.
And as I'm like right up there, and she had this pomegranate, something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I have to declare that I also have martial arts and I'm also marking this to reduce her superiority, because I'm going to fight her to get hold of this pomegranate. That's my objective. Whatever they did there.
Mark those. Combat with an equal foe. You have advantage. You land, you cut it so you catch that arc, hit the ground in the midst of all of these horror show specters and things that are rushing up. You ignore them, roll up onto Morgaine. The old guy has been taking off, and he has to suddenly stop himself as he spins to try and come back at you. Let's have you make that roll.
Oh hell, I'm going to spend 2. I have an advantage. I like riding the edge, or maybe failing. We'll see. Yeah, we got a 12, 5 and a 6 and a 2.
So one of the benefits will be to get that pomegranate away.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Well, I'm automatically dealing harm to.
And suffering no harm.
No, that's an equal. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You spent the points.
Yeah. Reposition. Yeah, I think as I like have this pomegranate, whatever it is, I just like want to use the chaos. Maybe like I dodge the old man so that he like jumps past me, and I'm like running back toward the stairs so we can hopefully start getting out.
So you hit that and then start running up that slope. Now it is steep, but you're making a break. You've got for it. But I think there is a moment where we see Morgaine kind of clutching at herself, and she kind of staggers back, and I think we see these figures, like a man and a boy. And they reach up from that pit and they grab onto her, and you hear her scream as she's dragged, and all that blood, and you see these things start to solidify around her as that blood sprays out, even as her vampire is crying out with rage, like coming for you. Jimmy.
I'm going to mark stability for seeing Morgaine's dead family rip her to pieces.
Good point.
Through the underworld.
Yeah, everybody mark a point of stability. I haven't really been tracking that, but I think that's fair.
Yeah, there is an afterlife and it's hungry.
Yes.
So Peter splashed away some of these shadows. The old man, he's then run for the...
So down below, on the slope down below, Carl is coming running back with that pomegranate. Peter is running for the cage. There is a wave of these hungry ghosts rolling up. The other big solid guy that is there is the old guy who is running, trying to catch up to Peter. The priests are trying to move and come up, and their vampires are also starting to manifest to come up, but they're like, this is not what they expected to be happening here. What do you do, Jimmy?
I stumble to one knee and I think I shoot the priests.
Okay. They are not fully manifested. They're trying to deal with the stuff around them. Their ritual is interrupted. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you combat against an equal foe for them.
Can I spend another point of military science to get like a good fire, take the best firing position on them?
Yeah.
Burning through all of my resources.
Wait, it's gone? Because I think Edge is supposed to stay for a little while, for a moment.
Oh, no, I don't think you have the edge right now. Oh no, that's right. No, because you took the superiority down
with a tactician, so we
that's
can say
right.
it's gone. I don't know. Just asking. Because
oh no. So the situation hasn't changed on that round. It goes for at least one tick where you guys I'll get a chance to bite the apple on that. So you do have advantage.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, I guess they see Megain going in there and they're distracted by that, right, as well, because she's a big part of their stuff. So yeah, I will roll with advantage, and I will roll 2 of those because I have not had a full success in a combat roll since not even with the explosion, I don't think. That's 13. No, that's not. That's an 11. Sorry. So
11. Deal harm to your foe and choose 2.
I will deal more harm, and I think that the other benefit as negotiated is that these untamed get some of the blood from the priests, driving them beyond the control of the.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that whatever protections they had for the moment will fade as their blood sprays into the air there. And then you're hit and knocked by the another wave of these things for another 2 harm. Minus your armor, so another 1, and they are up and they're hungry and they are drinking from whatever exposed wounds you have. The blood is just flying out into their mouths, and they just look so tired and hungry, and pleading for you to let them drink.
And I'm like, I think I'm backing up into that smoke of the sage haze, right? Like as the blood just like floats through the air towards these hungry shadow mouths.
Peter, what are you doing?
My intention is to push my way forwards to where the archaeologist is and try and free her.
Okay. This feels like a physical test to essentially get up there and get this cage open and get these people out of there.
Sounds really good to me. So yeah, let's spend, I'm getting pretty low here, but that's okay. Spending 2 points.
Okay.
Let's see what it gets us. Get in there. The big 12.
12. So you've got the water, you got the molly, you're kind of using that to create some kind of path for you. Cut that open. The archaeologist and some of the other people who are a little bit stronger have seen you coming and have already grabbed up the weaker ones and will start running up, just there's screams of terror, and start pushing, and you turn and get back with that 12, I think, back halfway up that slope. Even as these things, they're not fully formed, you can feel them like they're grabbing and they're clawing at you, but you can only feel like the raking of a cat's claw on you. But some of them are forming stronger, and there's more of them. So
it's like sort of pushing through sort of like mud and
yeah,
as if they sort of pull me back, but yeah, they're leaving sort of physical marks.
But with the 12, whereas I might have had you lose some or get caught in this, you are pushing your way upwards.
Cool.
Carl.
I think
badass vampire on your butt. This wave of things.
Quick stock. What is because the huge danger is the vampire that Morgaine had.
Yeah.
What is can I like grasp what it is doing? Is it coming for us, or is it trying to save more gain? Because then I will, because I'm not sure, should I be dealing with the smaller ones or the big
Morgaine
one?
is gone and it's angry and it's coming for you.
Yeah. I don't suppose I can help Jimmy in this moment. So I suppose I like unsling the crossbow, which I obviously loaded from being used up there. I take aim and I fire at the old man as he's coming for me.
I'll give you combat against superior foe, and I'll give you the last of the edge on this.
Yeah. I'm going to spend 2 from operational and hope for the best. At 12.
12, deal harm and choose one. Suffer no harm, change the environment, give advantage forward to someone.
I think I'm going to keep this advantage for a little moment. I might even say that if I was just by the Jimmy, I probably like stick this pomegranate somewhere on his like backpack or something.
You get
and
it.
I'm moving to the side to like grab all attention of him on me, giving advantage to the guys to do something.
Absolutely. The pomegranate is in their hands. You give Jimmy advantage. This thing slams into you for 4 harm.
Yeah, that's bad. -1 for body armor. That's a
Absolutely.
3.
Yeah. You can choose to mark a condition to negate that harm.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
Okay.
Although that would make getting out extremely difficult, but I'm going to mark injured.
Okay. Yeah, so he hits you and you get your body such that the claws don't rake in, but you feel your ribs give. They just absolutely give. And you're like wondering if your lung has been punctured or not, but it is on you and you're knocked down and it is up. Just it is going to kill you.
Yep.
Jimmy.
I grab Cal's shotgun that's dropped to the floor next to me. And you see like my bloodied hands, right? Like fumble into the side, and I slam in a pair of shells that I got from Salim. It just, and I slam them in just in the nick of time, one might say.
Okay.
I fire a phosphorus rounds at these at the shadow vampire.
Okay. So I will let you read that as combat against an equal foe for this round. That will equalize the moment there.
Mm-hmm. And I'll spend my remaining. I know it's shooting, isn't it? So I will spend 2 from there and my remaining 1 on the short term. So that's 3. Do I have the advantage as well here, or
no? The advantage is not
I
present.
chose to pass that.
Oh yeah, you did. I'm sorry. You're right. Thank you.
Yep.
You get the pomegranate and the advantage.
So with my shotgun blast, it's lowering it from superior to equal, and then advantages on the dice roll. Is that right? Yeah, cool. That is finally a big result. That is a total of 14.
Catch him right in the midsection. Even as he kind of roars up to just tear Carl from sternum to stem there, and you just boom, catches, and the phosphorus will go off and it'll fly backwards off, and it's screaming as that burns.
Yeah, I like that, because that would have been my reposition the conflict was. It staggers back on fire, and perhaps even like some of those untamed like pull it deeper into the well of shadows.
Peter.
Yes.
What do you do?
Let's get to the ropes.
Okay. This feels like one more athletics check to get people up and out of here.
It does. I'm going to spend my. I don't really have military science or anything, so I'm going to spend the last of my pool to give me 2.
Okay.
And hope for a good roll again.
Others can assist you if they want to spend from their pool to boost you.
It wouldn't make any difference, I'm afraid.
Okay.
So yeah, I rolled a 1 and a 2. So even with +2, that's only 5.
So
To just before, not to save it, but I would like to spend my military science as I'm like coordinating guys and creating a space for them to act. I would like to spend a military science to create a 3-point pool for guys to use.
okay. So Peter, you are concentrating on getting these people up, and that you're pushing them forward, and then there's just a swarm of them, and you are buried underneath the a pile of these creatures as they're dragging you back down towards the pool. Take 3 harm. And they are dragging you back to the underworld with them right now.
Okay, so does body armor count?
Yep, so only 2. But you need to roll take the hit.
Yes. So I've got 5, so that reduces me down to 3. And let's roll take the hit at +1.
Yep.
8.
An 8, choose 1, lose your footing, which would mean you completely lose control of where you're at. Drop
Don't
something
think that's good.
important. Lose track of someone or something you're supposed to be on top of, or give a tick of the edge to your opponent.
I think lose something. I think maybe my water gun, if there's anything left. I don't know.
I think the armaments that you have are just kind of being torn off of you. No,
that sounds good. Shall we lose the body armor as well?
Yeah. And
yeah.
mark a point of stability.
Okay.
Because of the situation that you're in. So then we swap back to Carl, I believe, right? Carl, you see Peter, these people, they're getting up towards the stairs. They're getting out of here, but Peter is just buried in this avalanche of these specters that are dragging him back. But you could get out of here. If you leave him behind, you can get everybody out of here safe. No problem. I won't even make you make a roll.
In the military, we have a saying: nobody gets left behind. So now that I have a moment free from the old man, I actually use my water gun, because we had 2, and to free Peter from those things pulling him into the underworld. So I like grab the fire hose, open it to full, and spray left and right to get him free.
So this would be an overcome action rather than just straight combat action. So what do you want to use to do this? What do you think is appropriate skill spend wise for this?
I'm thinking.
Is this more athletics, or is this more tactical, mechanical?
So cool was for like convincing people, or cool was for
cool
is
keeping yourself together, like keeping yourself steady and straight in a shitty situation.
Yeah, this sounds like a cool role.
Yeah.
This sounds like a cool role. I'm going to spend 2.
Okay.
It's a 9.
That is a 9. So I think you will spray this water off of Peter. Peter, what is the permanent injury, mark, scar, or whatever that you have from this?
I think for any sort of mechanical effect against me, it's got to be a facial scar.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's
I could say I'm a hiney or something, but that's not going to cut it.
Water sprays over as they're kind of pushed back. You stand up and you guys will see the side of Peter's face is absolutely freaking ravaged. There's bits of the cheek hanging out. It's not bleeding though, because they've drunk all the blood. Jimmy, what do you do? You could get everybody out. No problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we do. We get out.
Okay.
Yeah. With my 2 points left in athletics, I suppose.
Have you make that roll.
Yeah. I like to think that I,
Oh, and Carl's 3-point pool because he's playing tactical guardian.
Yeah, so Cal's keeping anything off us while I help. I grab hold of Peter, and I think we've been the survivors are sort of like climbing up those steps and everything, right? And yeah, I pull Peter up there. So I will spend. I'm going to spend that entire 3-point pool. Cal, does that sound good? Yeah. 2d6. 13.
So grab Peter, rushing up. Carl, you're doing the cover, and as you're falling back, you've got these people up, and then you're moving along that way back up to the top of this thing. I imagine that's when when we see the bag of the C4 in position.
Yeah, I would like, as I pull everyone up and we're about to go away, I want to. So down there was like where the hole to the underworld was, right, and everything. A hole. Now, would it not be able to blow that up, or do you think that was keeping them in there?
You can't blow a hole up.
Yeah, but like seal the entrance. Yeah, but I was just thinking, kick the C4 down back into the hole and blow it up from down there rather than up here.
I'd prefer like any entrance way, so they can't get down here and they can't get sort of out. Maybe it'll bring the whole thing down. It was a good bag.
We'll leave it because I was just occurred to me that if I maybe blow up the thing, I'll blow up the seal and it'll cause even worse problems. So no, I don't kick the bag down.
Rush up the stairs. We get that scene of you, all of you moving, blood coming out of you, but you're pushing people up. Get up to the stairs. Probably running for the helicopter at this point. As you what happens, Peter? Where are you running towards?
No, it's got to be the chopper.
Okay, that's what I wanted to have you say. Get to the chopper.
In fact, Pal could probably say it better. Go on, Pal.
Run over.
Get to the chopper.
Get up into that. You can see that this actually see that they've got flight coordinates and things like that. And you see they have a flight destination listed in on the thing as you roll into this thing, like hit the blades, they start to whir up, and then even as the first of these things start to break up from the hole, you let loose with that C4, and there'll be this explosion. That whole complex will just come crashing down the side of this cliff. Everything just gives as you lift up into the air. And you will see that there is a destination listed for Greece, for an island.
I'm imagining like the captives kind of like huddled on one side, kind of like holding on, and Peter just like staring out from one side, and then just the other side of it as he turns, and it's just all like cut up.
Absolutely.
And Carl like flying the helicopter away while Jimmy's just staring out the window like, oh my God.
Luckily you've got the good stuff, but we'll take up with that next time. You will take a refresh between now and then, and that is where we will start with the frame of the finale of this.
Is it a session refresh or a full refresh?
It is a session refresh.
Yeah, next session will be
better call your contact on as you're flying.
Yeah, better call Alan, come here. We need some spare points.
And that's where we're going to stop. If that's okay. If you don't mind, I'd like to do a quick stars and wishes for the session, since we have just the one session left. Paul, let's start with you.
I'd say some phenomenal teamwork around the table there. Everybody bought sort of individual stuff, but really worked well as a team. Jimmy's infiltration, really nice. Didn't turn into a bloodbath. Most people would say myself and Pavel would be a bit pissed off with that, but really ended with a good crescendo there. Carl definitely bought it in many situations there, and I think for South Lowell, some really good pacing there. Finished spot on time. It built up and up and up. So yeah, from my point of view, awesome session. Looking forward to the next time. Let's get some answers. Really, it is the last session. I'm sure there will be some death and destruction going around, but some nice answers. I think that will at least stop Jimmy dreaming of this game. And you at night. That'd be good all round, I think.
Fair enough. Jimmy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the whole kind of, you are here to fight vampires, right? And fighting vampires can only sometimes take place in back alleyways and rooftops and things. Sometimes you have to go to them, and I enjoyed the descent into an underworld. I suppose there's more of them. I really enjoy seeing the more of the supernatural world as well. And I thought that we all, embraced the kind of the going up the cliff, rescuing people, and then just getting stuck in with the vampires, because it feels as though there's no real safe way to do this, right? So you just got to hit them with everything you've got. And I like that we stumbled away, all of us much worse for wear than we were before. So yeah, great session. Wishes wise, I don't know, because I can't imagine what's next after that. I guess I don't know. I'm happy to do whatever,
Okay. I think that's fair. Yeah, and I do want to echo what you said. The cliff climbing thing, that was a great. As always, you always have to climb a cliff if you can, and I thought that was perfect. Pavel, stars, wishes.
I really love the session, full of action, totally Mission Impossible, and even more on the action side. Totally loved it. I really liked Jimmy's trick with the phone. No, hold on, I have Lilith here, playing the sound of children laughing. I really like Paul's idea with the destruction with the canister, and then basically all the stuff we did, save the people, get whatever we got from Morgaine and deal with her. Yeah. Oh, and Dragon's Breath rounds, awesome idea, Phosphorus rounds. Wish-wise, I don't think we will get a chase next session, so we'll probably have to wait with testing the chase mechanics for the future. I don't know. It sounds really cool. I think this session was my best one, so I got no wishes for next one. Otherwise, let's stop this end of the world. And I would like to learn the lore behind it. Was this the part of the blood that they were using? I'm really curious about the lore right now.
Well, you have the archaeologist in the helicopter with you, so you will get some answers that maybe you didn't have next time. So good question. Thank you all.
I'd like to give one last little star, the Brindlewood Bay tie-in.
Oh yeah. That's a deep cut obscure reference that I thought you would grab. Thank you all very much. I'm going to stop the recording.